Okay, hello party people. I was late because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my stream. And I was a little slower than I expected to be getting out of the shower. But the problem with the stream was this asshole. I had simply pasted rather than selected and pasted. Yeah. It's a single keystroke. That's all it came down to. In any case, hopefully that'll be the only problems we have today. Other than me forgetting that I had the browser open, of course. Oh, balls. 1 second. I misclicked that time. And we're good. We're good. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, let's start where we normally start, which, of course, is with... Oh, not there. Here. Six Impermentalis. There we are. Sorry about that. And yes, of course, while it's not classical Latin, it is close enough that it does translate to thus always to dickheads. And first dickhead today is the guy who tried robbing this fella. They almost left their board Fucking deserved. Every fucking moment of it. Yeah. 80-year-old store clerk ready for armed robber. Yep. Up next we have when blocking the train door goes wrong. Yeah, don't do this. Don't ever do this. Don't be this kind of asshole. Don't be this kind of dickhead.
This is what happens when you get in people's way.
Also, Karma's a bastard. Keep watching. Drops his coat, and it's immediately gone.
Here I come.
Oh,
here I come.
Excuse me. Yeah. Act like a dickhead, get treated like a dickhead. Speaking of, 75-year-old Vermont homeowner opens fire with muzzle loader after he says 3 armed men tried breaking in. I own a muzzle loader for home defense because that's what the Founding Fathers intended. Fire my Kentucky rifle at the first man, blow a hole clean through him. Draw my flintlock pistol on the second man, fire, miss completely, and take out the neighbor's dog because it's smoothbore. Yeah, I fucking love that meme. Okay, so this is from Ireland, and how does this go? The British patriot, the Brit lad, says, the fake asylum seeker picks a fight with an Irishman, and 20 minutes later he deeply regrets it. The Irish don't joke around. Now, I don't encourage vigilante justice, but I do see why it would happen. Now, this young fellow probably wasn't bothering anyone. Certainly wasn't bothering the one in the grey when the blue was fighting with him.
Hold on, make it sorry.
I'm dead! I'm sorry!
Say sorry!
I'm sorry!
You're sorry now.
Knock the camera aside! Knock the camera aside! Knock the camera aside! Say knock the camera aside! Get the phone! Say knock the camera aside! Say knock the camera aside!
For the record, folks, don't hit somebody with hammers in a gang. You'll end up causing the government to end up banning hammers. We don't need that. Speaking of dickheads who deserve what they get, it turns out Axel Rudacabana has been attacked in prison. Again, apparently. Yeah. It's almost like even criminals don't like it when you stab little girls. Go figure. Yeah. Okay, moving into our Base Japan section. Let me see here. Mothers packing cute, nutritious bento boxes for your children is actually fascism. Yes, as they're doing in the West, they are attempting to tell the Japanese that anything you do that is traditional... Oh, I knew I forgot something. Forgot the Base Japan opener. Okay, back to what I was saying. So apparently now, giving your kid a traditional bento box lunch is fascist. It's Japan. Maybe you want to try imperialist. I mean, it could work. I don't see why Japan can't deport this psychopath immediately. These kinds of left-wing ideologues are parasites who only know how to destroy and tear down every good and beautiful thing in life. And this is from Haruka Suzumori. I believe is Haruka Awake, that I've cited several times. An immigrant gender studies teacher in Japan claims that Japanese bento boxes, lunch boxes, are actually, quote, a symbol of Japanese empire. Ah, there's the imperialism, oppression, patriarchy, and nationalism. I have no words. Oh, I have words. Generally, one starts... Well, they generally begin and end with F. Yeah. Also from Japan. I have to lean in to read this, so I'll just blow this up a little bit. This is from Hoshi Zora Rock? I hope. When an American man comes to Japan for a visit, please do so in formal attire, like in the image. If you are not in formal attire, your entry may be denied, and you could be put on the next flight home immediately, so please be careful. Be the American the Japanese expect you to be. Yeah, now, time for the comments section. Oh, sorry, no, I'm wrong. Back off. Roll you back. I forgot, I have an entire pile of base Japan stuff over here on the other screen. My apologies. This is what happens when I'm in a hurry. Okay, more base Japan. And I will point out, this is Japan being based on behalf of other people, which deeply appreciated. Domo arigato. I had to remember how to say thank you in Japanese. This is outrageous. This is from 26ers BP115. This is outrageous. The stage play St. Joan set to be performed in 2026 at the Citizens Theatre in Glasgow, in Scotland. And get this, they're making Joan of Arc black. It's like saying Himiko or the legendary warrior woman Tomoe Gozen in Japan was black. French friends ought to be furious. We can't let something like this slide. Isn't it amazing that the Japanese are standing up for the French and English? Must be appreciated. And I did respond, honestly, they'd be more likely to call Tomoe Gozen trans these days. Yeah. But we'll have a quick blackwashing. Is a thing in mainstream Western media about as much as gender swaps. Never heard of the famous Black Vikings discovering America, or how the African people of Wakanda civilized those Japanese barbarians who used to live on trees like apes before? That's from German-American Nightmares, sorry. It exists. That's why we Japanese are angry. Yeah. Yellow folks are doing it too, though. I figured it was bound to happen. What Japanese people perform is, after all, just an adaptation. Now, to be fair, this is probably a Japanese production of Joan of Arc. So you wouldn't really expect Westerners to be in all the roles. So, if you're black, it's not Jen d'Arc, it's Jen d'Arc. Delicious. Let's see. It's not about the actor being black, but about Joan of Arc being black. Is that what you're saying? Even if the actor is black, that wouldn't work, right? Let's see what the replies here are. Why? If you can deliver outstanding... There is a degree of historical accuracy that is required. Joan of Arc is not a fictional story. Yasuke is not a fictional story. The Black Samurai, which he wasn't. And we talked about that. Well, it's been talked about ad nauseum at this point, but you cannot say that Yasuke was a Black Samurai when he wasn't. That's historically inaccurate. So that's where the issue is. It doesn't matter if you were to take a different character, if they had been smart and taken a different character, but this is Assassin's Creed. They do strive, supposedly, to be historically accurate in the aspects of the game that they're trying to make historically accurate. Yeah, don't mix up historical figures with fictional characters. Exactly. At this rate, Jeanne d'Arc's movies are going to get sealed away as restricted works any moment now. Even the anime that was made before might get reworked with black characters or something. This is, in fact, Mila Jovovich in The Messenger. Decent movie. Not, the fifth Ninja Turtle is having a bit of fun. We was Arabs, we was Romans, we was Vikings. We was Japanese, we was Chinese, we was Israelis, we was Egyptians, we was Jesus, we was Indians. Who said this? The fifth Ninja Turtle, yeah. Let's see. Moving on. I think we're about to get the Japanese 6 Emperor Mentalis out of this. Oh, that's interesting. Let's try that again. There we are. From Zunda Motesuki. Zunda Motesuki. Sorry, I thought it was an O for a second. The incident where a man raped 8 children over 7 years. A 62-year-old committed 49 sexual assaults on 8 children and filmed over 500 videos and images. Japan is way too lenient on sex offenders against children. I don't want scum like this ever released from prison again. I don't blame you. And, my response, of course, was, it is disturbing to see reports from Japan that mirror so much of the degeneration and decay that is occurring in the West. People like this are the lowest form of scum and deserve the harshest form of punishment. Personally, for me, that's the death penalty. What is Japan's stance on the death penalty? And I did ask, but no response. So, yeah. Prison, hear me out. I mean, yeah. I think that the person who passes judgment must be someone who has experienced the same suffering. Therefore, a woman would be preferable. Because boys can't be sexually abused as children? Fuck off. And we don't trust women to judge criminals because they tend to be gentler. Far too gentle, for that matter. Pause. I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at here. This is a Japanese streamer showing a video of Nigerian scammers attacking people in Japan and says, we should bring the Yakuza back. Japan would be better off without those. I'm joking, I swear I'm joking. He knows how to not get banned. Yeah, you do have to be careful about the bans.
This is Tokyo, Japan. These are the infamous Nigerian scammers harassing tourists.
This is the price we have to pay for getting rid of Yakuza, no? Yeah. So maybe we should bring them back. Or shall I bring them back? To Japan where we safe again. Without those... I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
This is...
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad choice. And I did say, like the Mafia for the Italians, at least the Yakuza didn't completely destroy their own communities. I didn't actually put their own communities here. I was using speech to text, so the accent may have caused an issue. At least that's the impression we have in the West. Feel free to correct me. Actually make that feel invited to correct me if I'm wrong. There are only 2 men who can save Japan from these types of tourists. Oh, how I wish they were real. I'm not 100% sure who either of these characters is. I want to say this is from, the fighting game Tekken, but I don't think that's right. It may be they're both from the same game, given this response here. So I'm going to guess this is probably Yakuza. I've never played that game, so. Okay. Oops. From Kangmin Lee, which still based Asian. When leftoids like Hassan claim Asians want to be white so bad, they really mean anyone who values goodness, order, beauty, and tradition. In other words, normal Asians. Millions of Asians actually don't like it when you push for rampant degeneracy and disorder. We'll listen to what
your recent report on Asia and Asian-related news has been horrible. Wait, you think I'm anti-Asian politics because I think the Supreme Court decision... Wait, what are the things that I did that were anti-Asian? Is it Shine? Is it because I said the Sheen factory conditions are actually not in the way that they're representing it when they do that dumbass PR marketing? Is that...
So how much money did Shine pay you for that, Hassan? Yeah. No Chang or Singh wants to be second-rate. Asians and whites can rag on each other about this dynamic because they're both party to the discourse and have a stake in the issues. Hassan doing it just comes across as barely disguised envy and resentment that he's not in either club. This is your reminder that both Western and Japanese cultures are the heights of civilization. All others are second best. Cultural supremacist. Get it right. In Japan, thousands of Muslims have gathered at the largest castle in the country, of course they have, to hold a prayer and implement Sharia law in several neighborhoods. Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has announced that she will deport all of them, whether they are legal or not. This is the based response. If someone is attacking your cultural heritage and your traditional foundation as a nation, you fucking throw them out. It doesn't matter if they're citizens or not. Japan needs to do the right thing, kick all those No, see, it's not all the Muslims that they need to kick out. It's just the ones doing this shit. The ones who are intolerable and unwilling to integrate. Which, granted, is probably the vast majority of them, but still. The US needs to adopt this. Japan keeps Islam at bay by putting restrictions on Islam and all Muslims. Japan is the only nation that does not give citizenship to Muslims. Based. Permanent residency is not given to Muslims. Propagation of Islam in Japan is banned, as it should be anywhere that is not already an Islamic country. In the University of Japan, Arabic or any Islamic language is not taught. Kind of either way on that one. Japan is the only country in the world with negligible number of embassies in Islamic countries. So very few embassies in the Islamic countries. Not shocked. One cannot import a Quran published in the Arabic language. That strikes me as actually a bad idea, because if you can't read the original wording, you don't know what's actually being said. Muslims must follow Japanese law and language. Absolutely based. The Japanese government is of the opinion that Muslims are fundamentalist and unwilling to change their Muslim laws. They do certainly seem that way. Muslims cannot even rent a house in Japan. I don't know about that one. And there is no Sharia law in Japan. Also based. Unfathomably based. From Brother Mike. Imagine a religion whose followers admit they want to kill you, but they say you have a phobia if you don't want to be killed. No, not interested. Every knee shall bow. Around he fucked, found out he did. Yes. Around they fucked and found out they did. Yeah. Okay. And as I did say, the Japanese have turned out to be exceptionally based allies in the culture war. From SOI Media, this is Judge Tracy Lloyd Clark. She has sentenced an ex-soldier with PTSD, Daffron Williams, to 2.5 years in prison for Facebook comments. She also sentenced someone for posting a video on social media to 12 months. But the exact same judge let off a child rapist called Reese Newman because she said the prisons were overcrowded. This is British justice. Again, now you understand why I say maybe we shouldn't let women be judges. Fully expecting a bent lefty to community note this with something like, actually, this was in 2023 and he posted death threats or something gay. Yes. Justice isn't... Yeah, from White Dragon, who is absolutely correct here. Justice is not two-tier, it's anti-white. Yeah. The UK is rancid. That's the Freds, man. That's the I'm too sexy for my shirt guys. Yeah. It says it all, clear as day, yeah. Why are they still wearing wigs? It's tradition. Fair. Time to get rid of corrupt judges. This isn't a corruption issue. That's the problem. It's not corruption. It's ideological. Now, it works in much the same manner, but the problem is that you have a judge who has political opinions that they are using, that they are allowing to influence their decisions. Yeah. And if the law is such that you can actually get away with letting out a child rapist and jailing people for speaking incorrectly, I think the law needs to be changed. Okay, now we come to the comments section. The clown show part of the day. Okay. This is from Table Salt. Man who fled Venezuela for Canada sounds the alarm on what's happening in Canada. Everything that is happening in Canada now is what happened in Venezuela 20 years ago. Yeah. He sees the communist train derailment happening in slow motion. And this is through Josh on Topic, apparently.
So everything that you are seeing now here in Canada is what happened in Venezuela 20 years ago, step by step, because it's a script from communism. Simple as like that. That's all that I can say. We come from the future, basically. Every immigrant for Ecuador, Venezuela, or Colombia, we can tell you that this is messed up, 100%. Also, so everything that you are seeing now.
Canada, how long did it take Venezuela to fall? About a decade. Yeah, vote like your kid's future depends on it, because it does. Welcome to Venezuela. I will also point out, are you aware of where Pierre Poilievre's wife is from? Yeah. He is wrong, we are in super fast motion. No, nobody has been paying attention up to this point, that's all. Or not enough people. This will be West Vancouver in 20 years. Venezuela North, indeed. It's a liberal communist success story. No, it won't be, because Vancouver is way rainier than this. or way colder rather than Venezuela, you would have dead people. People couldn't survive like this. Yeah. But, you know, let's talk about, since we're talking about West Vancouver, or North Vancouver, let's continue talking about BC. This one's from Osoyoos. From Canada Proud. Report, the BC Human Rights Tribunal has ruled that Sun Beach Motel in Osoyoos discriminated against a guest after evicting her for smoking marijuana in her hotel room, ordering the motel to pay $5,000 in compensation. You're not allowed to smoke cigarettes in hotel rooms anymore. Why would you think it was okay to smoke a joint? Idiot. And why the BC Human Rights Tribunal would agree is beyond me. But, yeah, now the motel has to pay $5,000 in compensation. Fucking retarded. More craziness, human rights tribunals are a cash cow for self-declared victims. Yeah, especially in BC. Those of you who don't remember, Jessica Simpson, then Jessica... Oh, what was the other name? Went by. The one that attacked David Menzies with a cane. Or his mother did. Jessica... Oh my, I can't remember, and it doesn't really matter. Yaniv. Yeah. I believe the key part of this was the eviction. Every hotel I've stayed at mentions a fine for smoking, but I've never read that you will be evicted over that. It's a business. Every business has the right to refuse service to anyone at any time for anything. If they don't reserve that right, they're damn fools. All Canadian human rights should be revoked and their tribunals abolished. Okay, good luck with that one. Correct ruling, here's why. The motel policy forbids cannabis in a room. Cannabis is a legal product like alcohol. The owners accused her of smoking in her room, though there was no proof of that. They evicted her immediately. The BC Human Rights Tribunal ruled on March 19th that the Sun Beach Motel in Osoyoos discriminated against guest Vicky Arvanitis on the basis of her physical disability. Under Section 8 of BC's Human Rights Code, the motel must pay her $5,000 for injury to her dignity, feelings, and self-respect, plus post-judgment interest, and refrain from similar discriminatory conduct in the future. The fuck of what? No, this is insane. I'm sorry, Mark. I understand where you're coming from. You're a crusader for cannabis. I get it. But you can't tell a business that they don't have the right to evict someone for any reason. Obviously, this person was making a problem of themselves. Businesses don't just throw out paying customers for no reason. Not if they want to keep getting paying customers. This one's a bit rough. But at least we're seeing the people rise. From National Identity Awareness. 3 little white girls have been stabbed to death. The attacker's identity is deliberately being hidden by the media. Gee, wonder why. This is why the British people are finally taking to the streets. Watch the police run in this video. Our children are no longer safe in their own country. They will be. Skip the fucking tinny. It was just like, yep, you can't arrest them all. Let me see. Slabo Fatzaroni. Okay. From everything I've ever seen, British police are the softest law enforcement on earth. Absolute pussies. Well, British police racing to the scene to make sure the 9-year-old rape victim isn't Islamophobic. Yep. Let's not jump to conclusion. And it's Muslims. Well, of course it is. Who else is it going to be? And even if it isn't, it doesn't matter. They shouldn't be keeping the identity of the attacker secret. Not ever. I don't care if it's a child. I don't care if it's a Pakistani migrant. I don't care. Now, speaking of Pakistani migrants, let's talk about this guy. Oops.
What's your name?
Thought I'd pause that. Just a moment. I did pause it.
What's your
Fuck
name?
off. There. Just in, Pakistan migrant arrives in UK for only 5 days and tries to rape a 12-year-old girl and 2 13-year-olds. British patriots stopped him. What do we do with this monster? Life sentence, deport, execute, and deport the remains. No, keep the remains. You need fertilizer. Feed them to the pigs.
What's your name?
My name is Sufyan. Sufyan.
How old are you?
24.
No, we won't
Where are you
watch
from?
this because there's not much point. When you realize that the only way this ends is when people start doing things you can't post about online. Yeah, you have to set examples. Punishment for raping a child. India, death penalty. Pakistan, death penalty. Saudi Arabia, public fucking beheading. North Korea, death by firing squad. Bangladesh, death penalty. These are Muslim countries. Pakistan and Bangladesh are both, and even India, have significant Muslim populations. So you can't say they're rape cultures. Yeah. Yep. I am past the point of just wanting them in prison. You're going to see a lot of this meme, so you might as well get used to it. Yep. Well, no, you'd ruin your machinery. One size fits all. I like that one. Yep, dead pedophiles don't reoffend. It's true. Okay, let's move on to Canada now. Let's talk about another set of clowns. Parliament. Pierre Poilievre is once again proving he is guided by polls, this should be 2 L's by the way, Tony, rather than conservative morals and ethics. CTV News is spot on. Pierre Poilievre is adopting a less combative tone in new conservative ad campaign. Yeah, Pierre Poilievre has been told that he needs to tone down his angry rhetoric or he won't draw liberal voters. Guys, honestly, if you're not at least looking at the PPC at this point, with all these floor crossings, I don't know what to tell you. Seriously. One of the things that blew my mind when I discovered it recently is that there is no process for recall or by-election to be triggered when someone does this. An elected politician can cross the floor completely against the obvious stated will of their constituents. What do you think an election is? It's the constituents going, we agree conservative, or we agree liberal, or NDP, Green, whatever. But it's the constituency going, this is who we want to represent us because we most believe this is the person who follows our values. When that person crosses the floor, for any reason, or even becomes independent, for any reason, they should absolutely trigger a by-election. But no, not in Canada. If at some, and speaking of things that should be in Canada, recall legislation. We don't have that. We have no process to recall a politician that begins to work against the will of their constituents. But let's listen to this silly bullshit.
The push to rebrand will make a difference. Hey, Graham.
Sandy, Pierre Poilievre will still talk about how he sees the Liberals failing Canada, but the Conservatives' new ad campaign sets a different tone. There is less talk about corruption and more about grocery prices. And there is some optimism about the country
I see
and the
Didgeridoo.
future.
I'm sorry, Didgeridoo. Completely missed you there. Well, at least I know the chatbot is working. Didger says, according to CBC, he's internalized his white supremacy. Hi. Hello again. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I did a stream about 4-ish hours ago now, because I just didn't sleep well last night and I felt like getting up and gaming, so I thought I'd stream it.
It is more pro-Canada, less anti-liberal.
By a country that stands on its own feet.
A new campaign by Conservatives launching on Tuesday.
A country that is unbreakable.
All part of a slight reboot in tone from...
You notice how you don't see a single turban? Yet this is still the guy who said he wanted to institute direct flights to Amritsar? Yeah. And I did point out to Tony, he's always going to choose what he thinks is the safest route to second place. And Tony agrees with me. Frustrating how Canadians don't see it. That's what we're here for. Hi, guys. Yep. Let me see. Eric St. Pierre says, I wouldn't mind being guided Catholic Poles. Oh, okay. Being guided by Catholic Poles, as in the Polish. Are we allowed to call them Polacks again yet or not? Can't remember if that's a slur or not. Being guided by polling agencies that are federally funded. Blasphemy. Yeah. Absolutely. Google's dictation button fails me again, but man, we all know what I meant. Yeah, fair enough. Lukewarm asset. Yeah, you're not wrong, Biako Dono. Where are you from? Cosmic Engineer. I like that profile pic, but I'm not sure if it's sus or not. Anybody knows, let me know. Let's see here. From Vince Dow. Yeah. Canada will never be the 51st state. We are sovereign. Really? Are you sure about that? Wants to surrender sovereignty to the EU. Simply replaces U.S. dependence with Chinese dependence. Amazing independence you libtards are declaring. Yeah, the majority of Canadians are supposedly open to joining the EU. I don't believe this poll, and you shouldn't either. Get out and talk to people, and I'll throw Vince Dow a follow here, but get out and talk to people. There is no way on earth that the average Canadian wants to join the EU. It makes no sense to us. A trade agreement? Sure. But why would we join the EU? It's bad enough to be in Alberta, Ontario, well, Alberta, Quebec, BC, Newfoundland, the Yukon, thousands of kilometers, as it is, from the place where people make decisions that govern your life. It would be an order of magnitude more retarded to move that then to fucking Brussels. Especially when you consider the number of groups, the number of countries that want out. Britain is out. Actually, Dr. Functional says, yes, let's believe what state propaganda says. Don't be this retarded, Vince. It's not worth it. I don't think he's necessarily buying the propaganda. I think it's more that he's using the propaganda to illustrate, well, then again, yeah, libtards, possibly. But regardless, yeah, Canada will never be the 51st state or China's 24th province. Yeah. And it is somewhat possible that the UK may end up back in the EU if things keep going the way they're going. But let's continue the clown show of Canada. We're not going to listen to this person. For decades, this is from Bruce McGonigal, for decades, First Nation women have been demanding the police investigate the thousands of First Nations women and girls who are either murdered or missing. Let me offer you this particular point. The police do investigate. The killers get light sentences because the majority of the killers are themselves First Nations. And there was already, long since, a two-tier justice system in Canada based on race. If you were Native, you got lighter sentences. Period. Simply because you were Native. Don't believe me? Go look up the Gladue decision. There is at least one missing woman for every 12 miles of road on a 500-mile stretch of this highway. Since I was a child, I can remember families pleading with the RCMP to find out where all these women are. It's not a problem for us to fix. So it's not just the alleged Kamloops mass grave of hundreds of First Nation the government and police refuse to forensically professionally investigate. Okay, Bruce, I'm going to stop you there, and I'm actually going to unfollow you while I'm talking about this, because this is bullshit. You want to know why? Here's why. Who put up the fence around the gravesite, the supposed mass grave area on the Kamloops Residential School? It wasn't the police. It was the band, after they were given money to investigate. Yeah, $21 million, somewhere in that range. Not one shovel in the ground. And the only time shovels have been put in the ground, which wasn't at Kamloops, nothing was found. But yeah, no, continue to believe that ground-penetrating radar is an X-ray vision device like Superman. Fools. Speaking of fools, looks like Canada and the UK are in a dead heat for who's most retarded. Retard finders. I find retard. Retard finder. Good follow, by the way. Go give them a look. Very close call, but the UK wins. Congratulations. Yeah. As a Canadian, I demand a recount. Canadians just idling, waiting to hit the gas accelerate, surpassing. Yeah. As a Canadian, I beg to differ. The UK no longer castrates their children due to mental illness, nor do doctors kill sad people. Yeah. Canada must be proper retarded to lose to us, says SOI Media. Canada's 12 months behind the UK. Yeah? Yep. Okay, let's check this one out. Mass immigration or higher birth rates? Harrison Faulkner. Which way, Canada? Eric Hoffman. A lot of the people who are preventing this debate are more in favor of mass immigration as a solution. Well, no shit. Pause this. Imagine if Canadians received subsidies to have more children, or at least didn't have their money stolen to subsidize their invaders. Yeah. Yep, Lex Blazer says, higher birth rates eventually. First, let the population drop, like Japan. It is fine and survivable. You know what happens when you have less population? Wages go up. As if you don't flood the country with immigrants to protect your holy GDP, we can survive it. The last white bike courier? But see, you can't deport Canadians for quitting their closed permit job at Timmy's, therefore diversity is our strength. Yeah. Natural-born Canadians want high wages, benefits, high quality of life, and high return on their taxes. Welfare and migrant hordes are just happy to be here because they will suck the country dry and then fuck off back to where they came from. And will live and work in squalid conditions as long as they can stay. The elites want their low-cost serf class. Thank you. Absolutely true. That's Jeff Knight. Ken Foster, we're past the point of no return. I will not blackpill. The problem is, how do you get conservatives to live up to their creed? Simple. You stop calling them conservatives. They are chinos. C, small I, big N, big O. Conservatives in name only. Pronounce it chino, not sino. We're not talking about the Chinese. It's a different problem. Let's see. Wow, you got picked on in school, didn't you, Muffin? Really? Okay. It's Harrison Faulkner. Yes, he did get picked on in school. By the school. Artsy says remigration. That's the gentler approach. Neither. Why the obsession with growth? We have too many people in Canada already. We need less people. Okay, fuck you. If you really believe that, get out of Canada. If you're even actually here. Living on Turtle Island. Yeah, you can fuck right off. Speaking of people who can fuck right off, this guy. This guy may fuck completely off. In fact, he can fuck so far off that he can't fuck off anymore. When he gets there, he can take a 90-degree turn and continue to fuck off. A black man claims that black people had to build the UK because white people didn't want to work because they were lazy. Yeah.
You know, in this country back in the 50s and 60s, Afro-Caribbeans were asked to come here after the Second World War to rebuild Britain.
No. You were asked to come to help rebuild, not to rebuild.
A lot of the English and white people didn't want to work. They were lazy.
You fucking scumbag. Get back out into your own country. Charlie Rowe, no, like affirmative action in the U.S., decolonization through the British Nationality Acts was a form of reparations, a debt we are still forced to pay even as we are being displaced by the very groups we sought to appease. It will never be enough to make them not hate us. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you don't hate them, they hate you. You don't have to hate them to be working for your own. Yeah. I made this. You made this? I made this. What? Why? You did this. We was Kangs. Yep. Speaking of people who should fuck off, yeah, there's a few of them today, sorry. Imagine being so... This is actually my own repost here, so... imagine being so hostile to your own people that you join the religion that most despises them, refuse to accept that you are in fact no longer Irish, and yet simultaneously claim to be from the American South as if that is some sort of marker of special status. You can't make this shit up. Women are fucking mental. This is from Dr. Maloof.
Well, let me tell you something. I am Irish.
You are not Irish. Not with that accent, sweetheart. You're not Irish.
And I am from the South.
So you're from the south of Ireland? I don't fucking think so.
And I will wear this hijab because...
Okay, wear the fucking thing. Nobody cares.
I wear it for Allah, not for no man, not for anybody else.
Uh-huh. So you can take it off whenever you want?
I wear it for Allah, and if you have a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you. This is a peaceful religion. You need to do
Pull the other one.
A little Google search.
Oh, you don't want me to Google search, sweetheart. You don't.
Instead of believing everything that you hear on the news, okay?
It's kind of funny that you go from Irish, the original terrorists. Sorry, Ireland. Love you guys. Come Out You Black and Tans is still my favorite song from that. From over there.
It doesn't matter where you're from.
Really? Then why are you claiming to be from the South and Ireland at the same time?
You can be Muslim. It does not matter.
It's quite the nice ring you have on your hand there. Wonder why you have the hijab on.
matter where you're from, you can be Muslim. It doesn't have anything to do with where somebody's from.
You don't think so? Okay.
So you need to do a little more educational background before you go posting stupid.
Sweetheart, this is when you're gabbering, okay? When someone is just gapping at you. Yap, 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 yap. You know, felony yapping, as donut operator would say. Yeah. No. You don't do this when you're trying to tell someone to go educate themselves. You give them one of these. Listen for the click.
Stuff. Well, let me tell you something. I am Irish.
Irish? A-R-I-S-H? Irish? Yeah, I'm making fun of her accent. You know why? Because I'm from fucking Newfoundland and I can do that. Yeah. American woman converted to Islam. Pause. Silence bench. American woman converted to Islam is very angry that people told her she should not be wearing a hijab because of her accent. I don't believe anybody did. And I think she's also going to claim that after she said that, everyone was clapping. Yeah. Imagine, yeah, that's the same thing I said. White women in hijabs telling people to Google it are the most low information people on the planet. Yep. You're doing it for Satan, I suppose. Be who you want to be, but don't expect applause for it. I disagree if the rules apply to women. I have also encountered Muslim women in the U.S. who don't have the right to discipline their male children. Yep. She should have been told she's not to wear a hijab because Allah is just as fake as every other god that was made up. You're allowed to have that opinion. The number one greatest weakness of humanity is its ability to believe in made-up bullshit so easily. I don't think so. Okay, moving on. What do we got next? This is Brandon Gill being slammed online for what he says here. Also, it is extremely based what he says. From Patriot Newswire, Representative Brandon Gill is being slammed online for saying, quote, "Not all cultures are created equal. How dare he tell the truth?" Gill claims that Islam is not a religion but a political ideology. It's both. Should he be censured for his comments, or is he right? Hang on. Both of those could apply. He could be censured because he's right. But we'll let Mr. Gill speak for himself.
Sharia law and radical Islam have no place in the United States. You know, there's a fundamental truth that I think we've got to recognize, which is that not all cultures are created equal, and they are not all equally compatible with America's governing framework. The reality is that radical Islam as a political ideology has a very different conception of freedom of speech than we have in the United States, a very different conception of freedom of religion, of separation of church and state, or of mosque and state.
Well, they don't separate them. That's one of the things with Islam. It is both politics and religion. So he's not wrong. The young man is 100% correct from woke cult leader. We are witnessing the greatest act of cuckoldry in human history, an entire civilization willingly giving away its land, women, and children because the alternative to it is being called racist. Yep. Islam is not a religion. Yes, it is. Stop that. It's a political movement to take over the world. It's both. Show me where the Islamization of anywhere has improved the quality of life. I'll wait. Islam, we the people. Islam is not a religion. Stop that. Islam is a religion. It's just that some religions are bad, or at least incompatible with Western civilization. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's just degenerating into name-calling. It's pointless. Look, Islam is not the religion of peace. It is the religion of power. It clearly runs on the power principle. Nothing else. So, why you would concern yourself with anything else is beyond me. Let's see. From Curious George. Caps a follow for this.
Please.
A Nigerian immigrant in Canada coaches other immigrants about how to get free food, free transport, free furniture, free educate, free blah blah fucking blah. In other words, how to leech.
Since you can get things for free in Canada, I've made this video a couple times. But I see people are still asking the same question. See, there are lots of things you can get for free in Canada as someone that's as a newcomer.
Yeah, only as a newcomer. And the account is called Grace in Light, Grace Insight. So if you're on TikTok, feel free to unfollow that person. No Country for All Women says, meanwhile, according to 2025 stats, an estimated 1,000 Christians are massacred every month in Nigeria. She's worried about people being scammed? No, she's probably scamming by making those videos. Let's see. Made in Canada says, I sure hope everyone supporting either side of this war realizes the millions and millions of refugees that are coming to the West. Kind of non sequitur because we're talking about Nigeria, but okay. Birth tourism is a massive scam by immigrants and silently enabled and supported by, it's not just the Liberal government, it's governments in general, because the ruling government that lets in immigrants is generally voted for by those same immigrants. Let's talk about Gavin Newsom's wife. Yeah. From Liz Churchill. Holy shit, Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer, ran over and killed her own sister with a golf cart, then tells San Quentin prisoners for lifers, yours were probably accidents too. What the fuck is wrong with her? She's a brain-fucked Californian blonde bimbo?
I had to be very raw when we interviewed the young men who were juvenile offenders in San Quentin. I told them about my own loss, where I lost my older sister a few days before my 7th birthday, and I blamed myself for her death. And
yeah, because you ran
I share that because that they ultimately were accused of committing these violent crimes and sentenced for life. And I think it shocked them that this, blonde lady who was, interviewing them had a similar story.
This is either extremely self-reporting behavior, or she's nuts. Possibly both. Just bear with me.
I was perhaps in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay, if it's true that you ran over and killed your sister with a golf cart, wrong place, wrong time does not apply. Especially if it was intentional. Especially if after it was intentional you were told that it was an accident. Which, conceivable, but holy shit.
But wasn't punished the way they were, because clearly it was an accident. But
clearly it was an accident. Really?
Theirs was probably an accident too.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the face of the white women who will kill Western civilization. This was the poster child for when people say bitches be crazy. Also true. We're just like you. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably Hillary Clinton's golf cart. No golf carts for my wife. The word is psychopath. Yeah. This is who they are. Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom. She gives her daughters and her sons dolls to play with. Does she also give them guns to play with? Of course not. She thinks masculinity is dangerous. She once dated George Clooney. Tells you an awful lot about George Clooney. The picture of Gavin is becoming more clear now. Yeah. It's always in the eyes. Yeah. Face of an elitist narcissistic sociopath. Well, if she intentionally ran her sister down with the golf cart, which is potentially possible, if you're angry, you do things that you don't mean to do, especially when you're a child. But if her parents then turned around and poo-pooed it away as, well, it was just an accident, you didn't mean to do it, that's the wrong approach. Harvey did, in fact, do your wife. One does not simply kill with a golf cart unless it's a DUI or revenge. I mean, yeah. Yeah, they are kind of the Jim and Tammy Faye Bakers of today, yeah. Okay, moving on. Scumbag. Transgender teen murders mom and mom's boyfriend. Julia Egler, a then 16-year-old biological female, who was going by Jasper, murdered her mom because they disagreed over Julia's identity. She first claimed a black male was responsible, but later confessed. When the evidence mounted up and she couldn't hide it anymore, most likely, Julia allegedly said welcome home before opening fire on her mother and her mother's boyfriend with her mother's own revolver. She was indicted for 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder. Why do so many members of the transgender community resort to murder? Why is death the apparent outcome of the transgender agenda? It's either death of the next generation through sterilization, death of themselves through suicide, or they seem to just and go off at other people. It's not a good idea to pump a mentally ill young girl full of testosterone. It's not a good idea to pump anybody full of testosterone. It's a little better for men because we mostly can handle it. Been handling it our whole lives, after all. Transgender violence is out of control. Trans is a mental illness. Words are violence. Yeah. When cross-dressing doesn't get you the attention you thought it would, guess I'll resort to violence. We don't need more gun control, we need more hormone control. Dear God, that's a terrible AI picture of a fire. Straight lives matter. Hi, I'd like a wake-up call. More people have been shot by trans women than by ICE agents in 2026. Trans men need mental evaluation too, yeah. Affirm my identity or we'll shoot your kids. Me, I'm a woman. Guy who transitioned medically to become one. Yeah. Are you beginning to understand why I play a video game after I'm done talking about this shit? From Mario Zelaya. Breaking. Canadian immigration officers are explicitly instructed not to evaluate whether an asylum story is true. Remember back during COVID when they were looking at giving out the CERB, the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit for COVID, which fortunately I never ever had anything to do with because I was sort of fortunate enough to be a student at the time. Yeah, it was brought up in the House of Commons that people who were applying were obviously being fraudulent in doing so, and the assessors were being told just to prove them anyway. Yeah. Canada's asylum approval rate is 80%. Sweden's is 40%. How are we fortunate enough not to have the same problems as Sweden? Maybe because our women aren't quite as attractive? Sorry. Ireland, 30%. Yeah. Ireland is only letting in 30% of asylum seekers. Canada's letting in 80%. The only thing that comes to mind there is either it's because Canada's slightly more obscure, or they perceive us as actually being very, very cold. Which, yeah, we are. Stay out. You'll freeze to death. Internal IRCC, that's the Immigration and Residency Canada group. I can't remember exactly what IRCC stands for. Internal documents prove it. They're using AI-generated fake stories, fake documents, and no questions allowed. The developed world rejects more than half of asylum claims and we accept 80%. We're being played. Immigration officers don't have latitude to probe refugee claims, experts say. I was hoping that was going to be a link to the article. I guess I was wrong. Hire me, I'm retarded. Prove it. I vote Liberal. That'll do it. I immigrated to Canada illegally from El Salvador. You're right, it explains how your illegal ass from El Salvador got in here and can just spread misinformation 24/7. Really? He's illegal, is he? Okay. Guess what? I'd still rather have him. Especially if he came from El Salvador. I understand why he would leave El Salvador. Didger, it's bad how 95% of Muslims ruin it for the other 5%. The other 2%. Yeah. Let's pause this. This is going to shock and disturb you. Brace yourselves. So from Odessa Orlowich. I do apologize if I fucking English. I do apologize if I mispronounced that. Shocking. Canadian vascular surgeon calls out the atrocities about how badly MAID is being done in Canada. That's medical assistance in dying, for those who don't know. Up to 2 hours to die. No training, just a, quote, fee code. Not using anesthesiologists. Only a quarter are getting the proper kill shot. Not quick, not dignified, and not necessarily painless. Many doctors are appalled and, quote, want nothing to do with the process. Meanwhile, we have 2 doctors who have between them almost 1,000 body count. Yeah.
And I'm so glad to be able to talk to an actual vascular surgeon about this.
So everyone thinks that if you are going to have MAID, you're going to have a quick, painless, and dignified death, right?
If it were quick and painless, why do they have to paralyze you? Yeah, they give you a paralytic. Not anesthesia. Paralytic. Yeah. Makes you wonder. You remember some of the stories about adrenochrome and how they get it. Yeah, Canadian hospitals aren't even hiding it anymore. It's a terrible choice. That's also not Canadian, by the way. That's from somewhere else in the world, but still. Canadian man too polite to tell doctor he doesn't want to be euthanized. The medical industry eyeing your body parts, absolutely. Yeah. Double standard much. Abortion, celebrated as quick, painless, and dignified. Maids, messy, painful, degrading. People fighting, seizing, taking hours to die. Same ideology, eliminate the inconvenient human and call it compassion. Yeah. If you're going to be mad about it, don't call it a fetus. Don't use the cold clinical term. It's a baby. Baby or elder, both are disposable, same lie. Absolutely true. We are the world leaders at this, or if we're not, we're damn close to it. If only there was a way to fact check. Oh, hey, Google. Yes, because Google's AI is so trustworthy. Didger, they don't want you sitting up and screaming on the slab when they're going, when they're going for your organs. Yeah. Not only that, but they want to be able to tell, when they give you the paralytic, of course, your heart stops. When that happens, they can declare you dead, even though you're not technically dead. Yeah. Yes, there are reports and guidelines indicating that MAID can take 2 hours or longer to complete in specific circumstances, particularly when using an oral medication protocol. While IV MAID typically causes death within 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. Here's the problem with trusting an AI. An AI is just a glorified search engine. All it's doing is going out and looking for the most common instances of what's said relating to your search terms. That's it. Today, I was trying to find a picture of Chrystia Freeland picking her fucking panties out of her ass. Do you know what the fucking AI told me? There is no verified or credible evidence that Chrystia Freeland has ever done this. I've seen it with my own fucking eyes. Watching CBC News. No verified instance. Sure, bud. I think this is probably more MAID. I'm not 100% sure. From Ianon Patriot, American AF. No, sorry, this is more anti-white shite. Yeah, this one is, this one's pretty funny. But funny in the, I'm not really laughing so much as I'm contemplating a Fed post.
Now, woke schools teaching pupils that Stonehenge was built by black people, Alex.
Yes, so children are being taught that Stonehenge, this is a story Mail Online today, Stonehenge was built by black people, and the Roman Emperor Nero married a trans woman. These are the stories that are being, and they're also being told in pro-transgender lessons that slaves had their body parts altered, and it was a form of gender transition. I mean, you couldn't make it up.
Okay. I'll tackle a couple of points here before we come to the big one. Nero had somebody castrated. That is not gender transition. Similarly, they didn't bother to point out that it was not, in fact, the Western slave trade that did that to their slaves. That was the Arabs, the Barbary slave trade. They would turn their slaves into a different gender if you consider eunuch to be a gender. Yeah. As for the teaching students that Stonehenge was built by black people, it's really easy to tell a lie when you can't disprove it. However, it is extremely difficult to tell a lie when you have DNA evidence that says it's bunk. There's an article that I looked at a while back of a guy in England, not far from Stonehenge, who had DNA markers that matched bones found near Stonehenge. Yeah, funny fucking thing, isn't it? It's almost like people don't move as much as they thought they did. I'm not sure if this one's not supposed to be in base Japan. Ah, okay, it isn't. So, yeah, this is, the next thing that we're going to have to worry about is China, obviously. A Chinese spokesperson has said that Okinawa belongs to Japan. Yeah. What's a China? That plastic toy empire that oppresses these... No, it's West Taiwan. Laugh all you want. The problem... Yeah, try to take it. After seeing how Chinese tech holds up against the U.S., I'm not sure that they could even get past their own airspace and territorial waters without being annihilated. Yeah, there is a Marine Corps base on Okinawa. That's actually a fair point, Lazarak. And then as soon as Japan kicks the Americans out, China, no, it's fine, you can keep it, Japan. I wouldn't bet on that, because Japan is an expansionist empire. But, yeah, it would be very interesting if the Japanese decided to, you know, be the Japanese that the Americans think they are. Okay. No, I'm not doing that story. That's just disgusting. From Pierre Poilievre. The Liberal finance minister claims he rescued himself in September 2025 of the $90 billion... recused, sorry, not rescued, of the $90 billion Alto project, for which his wife is the vice president. Yet here he is promoting the project in Senate testimony 6 months later, and here he is voting for it in the House of Commons. There it is in the budget he presented, and there is no recusal record on the Ethics Commissioner's website. Nothing adds up. $90 billion at stake. Tell the truth, Minister. Hey, Pierre, thanks for pointing out corruption in somebody else's party, so that they can point it out in your party, and we can all just laugh at both of you. Yeah, vote PPC. I'm tired, boss. Mainly, I'm tired of a bunch of known corrupt traitors in government not being charged with crimes that would send anyone else to prison for life. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Obama's gay. No, I'm just kidding, I think. I think that was what I just saw in the video preview I was looking at. From Laura Loomer, that bastion of sense and sensibility, who no longer has a face that looks 100% human. Yes. Yes. In an incredible act of disloyalty, real Alex Jones, and we'll move that back over, and Robert Barnes just called for the 25th Amendment to be used against President Trump. Alex fucking Jones. One of the biggest Trump supporters ever. And when he flips, you call him a traitor as opposed to looking at Trump. Yeah. Robert Barnes, tackle Trump, let him pretend he is president, say he's going through a health issue, and let Vance take over. It's an option. They're spewing the same talking points as the left. You know, it is okay to agree with your opponents sometimes, Laura. It's called being a sensible human being. Sometimes something so egregious occurs that you have to go, yeah, this needs to be fixed, and it doesn't matter who helps us fix it. Now, that's not the same as saying the enemy of your enemy is your friend. That is, sometimes the enemy of your enemy is not at cross purposes with you. That does not mean they're your friend. Trump has become disloyal to the old Trump. The entire Zionist project is crashing and burning. Fuck all the podcast queens. The Zionicans lied to us about everything. Talk about disloyalty. Israel firsters, yeah. What if I told you that the left wing and the right wing belong to the same bird? It's a fair point. Alex Jones has a trouble with his mouth. He keeps saying stupid things, and Barnes can't stay away from the bottle. Okay. Jihadi Jones. Come on, guys. This is even more laughable than calling him Tucker Carlson. Fuck's sakes. Patriotism means to stand by the country. It does not mean to stand by the president. And it doesn't even mean standing by the country. It means standing by the people. That's from Goy Boy. We stand with our country, not our Zionist compromised government. Deport yourself and do America a favor. Yeah, and I did just realize, seeing the word Goy, that I needed to play this because there's something here.
The 25th Amendment's harder than impeachment. You have to get two-thirds of the House and two-thirds of the Senate.
So what do we do?
Tackle Trump and pretend, let him pretend he's president and publicly report that he's going through a health issue and Vance take over. It literally needs to be something like that. It's that bad.
Well, I have to say, having, and I was modding in the Broken Crown podcast yesterday, for those who don't know, they covered one of Trump's most recent press conferences. He's scattered. Like, he went from non sequitur to non sequitur to non sequitur in fairly rapid order. whether it's the stress of the job, whether it's just his age getting... Remember, he's 80-ish. Right? An 80-year-old shouldn't be running one of the biggest countries on the planet, one of the most powerful countries on the planet. You know, it was fine to ask for Biden to be cognitively assessed, but it's not fine to ask for Trump to be. And, you know, this may not be a cognitive issue. This may be a stress and inability to deal with being handed a threat like a golden pager. Then seeing one of your most trusted advisors shot. Yeah. I mean, not that I think anyone would ever do that.
I've known you a long time. You've never called for a internal coup before.
Ever. But that's how dangerous this is. That's how risky it is for the whole world.
Yeah, if I was the Democrats, I'd stop poking Trump and messing with him. That only makes it worse. Like, you guys need to watch out. This isn't a guy acting like he's crazy. This is real.
Well, what's there going to be to take over in 2026 or 2028 if this hits the fan?
Oh, sorry. It wasn't Obama's gay. It was Obama gave. Saudi prince reveals Obama gave Iranian regime $150 billion and Iran did not build a single street. If they were given $150 billion and couldn't manage to create a nuclear weapon, assuming, of course, Israel is telling the truth that they even want one, I mean, Iran simply says they want to enrich uranium. There are other reasons to enrich uranium. Maybe they want to get off the petrodollar. How'd that work out for, I don't know, Noriega, Gaddafi, Hussein? Yeah. But, you know, it's fine for China to get off the petrodollar and switch back to gold, right? Well, let's fling down through here, see what we hit. Charlie. Let's see. Let's talk about loyalty, eh? How about the Israeli government and military intelligence letting October 7th happen? They had the battle plans, for fuck's sakes. Either they're fucking idiots or they let it happen. I was smeared as an anti-Semite and Holocaust denier for even broaching this topic. Turns out I was onto something. And I do recall hearing this story repeatedly before. Israeli officials obtained Hamas's battle plan for October 7th terrorist attack more than a year before it happened. Documents, emails, and interviews show. But Israeli military and intelligence officials dismissed the plan as aspirational, considering it too difficult for Hamas to carry out. And the warning for the World Trade Center attack was issued long before Clinton left office. But, yeah. Let's see. Oh, hang on. What are you saying here, Didger? Let me drop the browser. They don't want you sitting up and screaming. 40% is going into weapons territory. Maybe. I've got to change that font. That's very difficult to read. Let's see what you're saying here. 60% is into weapons territory. OWN can suck it. They don't want you sitting up and screaming on the slab when they're going for your organs. Yeah, okay, covered that one. Yeah, you know, knowing that there's an attack coming, you have the choice between preempting it immediately or letting it happen. You know, personally, I would say let them make the attempt, but in the case of something like October 7th, where they had to cross a geological boundary point, be ready to blow them out of the sky. Yeah, but, you know, that might be a little too tactically advanced for some people. Oops. Well, crap, I think I just accidentally deleted something. Let's see what I have here. Yeah, that's that Laura Loomer one again. Okay, let's go to this one. Is that the last? Getting to the last? No, not even getting close to the last. Okay, from Millennial Woes. Deport, for the love of God, deport her. And her name is Yasmin Alibi Brown, said that white people have to integrate better with migrants. In the UK, she said this. Yeah.
Do this as a duty, as a journalist, right? And I ask them, what attempt have you, and these are white people,
I'll be right back.
have you made to integrate with those who come into your society? Why is the pressure always on us, the problem people? Why don't we say to more white people, integrate better, especially in those areas?
They haven't chosen to move to another country.
Hang on. I don't interrupt you. So don't interrupt me. Okay? Why don't we say integration is a dance?
So
You need two people.
you need two people on both sides.
And only one side gets lectured.
That is a fair point, isn't it, Steve?
No, it's not. It's actually these people have chosen to come to a different country, and if I chose to go to Spain, I'd want to integrate into Spain. I want to
do this as a duty, as a journalist, right? And I ask them, what attempt have you, and these are white people, have you made to integrate
Are you
with
white
those
people?
who come into
No.
your society? Why is the pressure
Of course, the
always
white
on
people are
us,
the bad ones.
the problem people?
Us.
Why don't we say to more
Oh, thanks
white
for pointing
people,
out that you're not actually part of the country. The pressure is on you as the newcomer because, and believe this or not, the desert dwellers actually do have a concept called hospitality, where there is a duty of the guest to be a good guest. Yeah. Listen for the click, missus. Fuck's sakes. Okay, she's made a fantastic living for decades out of castigating and berating us. If she returned to her homeland, all that wealth and status would vanish. But here she is with her husband. That's a very pale boy, living what looks like a very English middle-class life. Yeah. Too lenient deportation. What have we got here from Clear them out? Clear them out. Nice. Took me a second. Stage 1 is easy. Deport all illegals in the system and close the border, legal and illegal. Remove all benefits for illegal immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, etc. Stage 2, deport foreign criminals. Stage 3, all who've entered illegally, regardless of when it was. Return refugees. Stage 4, all immigrants, on benefits and not working. Stage 5, any foreigner working against our interests. Yeah, you need to throw out your agent provocateurs and your infiltrators. Stage 6, but can be done at any stage, to be honest. Voluntary repatriation with financial incentives in place to encourage them to leave. No, don't pay them to leave. Tell them to leave, or they will be removed, one way or another. Don't give them financial incentives to go. Jesus. Sorry, Woes, I absolutely disagree with you there. I don't think that's stage 6 is anywhere at all. Voluntary repatriation, absolutely. Give them a flight at cost, even. But don't pay them to fuck off. That just encourages more people to show up so they can be paid to fuck off again. No, don't do that. This is the same Yasmin Alibi Brown. Oh, I like how they actually spelled it properly here. I don't like them, white guys. I want them to be the lost species in 100 years. Yeah, and you wonder why I told her to listen for the click. I don't like white men. I want them to be a lost species. Yeah. We can't. She cleverly married a British bloke. Well, he can go too. It would be wrong to deport people and break up families. So the whole family goes. Speaking of people that ought to go, and no, I don't necessarily mean deportation in this case, from White American, DeCarlos Brown Jr. has been found incapable to proceed on the state murder charge brought against him in the killing of Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska. 15 arrests, 15 releases. Yeah. Justice demands a life for a life. Bet the judge was Jewish. Let's find out. Or at least see if we can find out. I'm willing to bet the judge was either a female or Jewish or possibly both. DeCarlos Brown Jr. found blah, 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 blah. Prosecutor. In the motion, Attorney General Roberts asked a judge to again delay Brown's Rule 24 hearing, in which prosecutors would have said whether they plan to seek the death penalty in the case. Let's see. The results of his capacity evaluation were revealed in a motion his state public defender filed at Mecklenburg Superior Court on Tuesday. In the motion, Daniel Roberts asked a judge to again delay Brown's Rule 24 hearing. Okay. That's it. Helpful. No way to tell what the judge was. To the white man in the comment section, being racist doesn't help. It doesn't fucking hurt either. And, white girl, shut fuck up. Go be pink somewhere else. Your opinion is irrelevant. Oh, apparently not pink after all. Quite potentially black. No. Yeah, she does seem to retweet an awful lot of black girls. Yeah. The article needed correcting. Brown Jr. has been found incapable to proceed. Brown, no. Yep. Really? It's not, no, stop. Use the English language properly if you're going to try to weaponize it. Jesus. If you're too fucking stupid to be punished, then you're too fucking stupid to live in society. I hate that this is some get-out-of-jail-free card that lawyers use and judges approve. Yeah, whether he's intellectually incapable, too stupid, or psychically incapable, psychologically incapable, as in non-compos mentis, and really they both work out to the same thing, he should still be hung, because he's clearly too dangerous to be allowed on the street. He's too stupid to not kill. Okay, from Table Salt. Psychiatrist confirms to parliamentarians that in less than 1 year, Canadians will be eligible for government-assisted death for many common conditions, such as eating disorders. And if you have managed to fool yourself into thinking, well, it's not just for white people, and it's not just euthanasia, and it's not just anti-white, if this doesn't convince you...
An eating disorder could qualify someone for MAID?
Again, I think the legislation is clear that it really depends on the circumstances of the person.
So it could?
Potentially.
And depression as well? Major depressive disorder?
Again, it depends on the clinical circumstances of the person.
Is there consensus among psychiatrists on how many treatments one needs to try or for how long one needs to seek treatment for it to be classed as treatment resistant?
The use of the term treatment resistance in the clinical research literature is meant to capture different populations depending on the goal of the study being undertaken.
In other words, I don't want to tell you that, so I'm going to drop as much jargon as possible on you. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be expanded again next year, if not beforehand. Why is an obvious... What? WHY is an obvious foreign outliers making policy over the lives of Western men and women. What are you talking about? This was voted in by Canadians. Okay? The whole dying with dignity thing was voted for by Canadians. And as it was voted in, it would probably be fine, because it was a case of giving the terminally ill and hopeless the opportunity to decide to die when they chose to, rather than having to wait for a disease that was going to kill them to kill them. Now it's beyond that now. Far beyond. She's the dumbest psychiatrist I ever heard of. No, she's not. She might not be a great psychiatrist. She's a great politician. Retard colony. You get MAID, you get MAID, you get MAID, you all get MAID. Everybody gets government euthanasia. Yeah. Right there with you. Okay. This one I reposted before this saw the community note, so I'm guessing it was added since I reposted it. Let's see what this is. From Ireland. Breaking. Ireland has descended into a full-scale civil war. Well, that's a bit of a stretch. With anti-government protesters seizing control of major cities across the country, including Dublin. They have threatened to bring the economy to a standstill if their demands are not met. Wow. So readers added context. Ireland experienced nationwide peaceful protests against rising fuel prices, featuring slow-moving tractor and truck convoys that disrupted traffic on major routes and in cities like Dublin. No violence, riots, or seizures of cities occurred. So apparently you're not even allowed to be a little bit hyperbolic anymore. Of course, it's the autists writing the fucking community notes. Is this even worth bothering with? Not really. The Bloc Québécois leader just called the PCs and Liberals a uniparty. Like he's not part of it. There's a reason there's blue in my fucking uniparty meme. Professor James Small claims that Europeans never created a civilization, and he also claims that black men are superior to white men. Black men are superior to white men. Put us on any playing field, be it physics or football, and we will win. Give us the same opportunities, and we will win. Really? Rome was not a civilization. Yeah.
Why do you say Europeans never created a civilization?
Show me one.
You're speaking the language of one, you dumb fuck.
That's the only question I've had. Show me a European civilization.
Yeah. Show me an African one. Show me an African one that ever created a language that the entire planet uses, a monetary system that the entire planet uses, or a legal system that the entire planet uses. Yeah. Or damn near the entire planet uses, yeah.
Rome is not a civilization.
Uh-huh.
Greece is not a civilization. You don't know a day in the history of Greece where there wasn't a war.
So because they were at war a lot, they weren't a civilization? Would you like to explain to me how Africa got to be such a wonderful golden paradise? Yeah.
You don't know a day in the history of Rome and there wasn't a war.
That's not
Those
true
are not
either.
civilization. Those are death culture, war culture. They're not building anything.
They're not building anything. Aqueducts, roads, coliseums, statues, buildings. No, absolutely not building anything. Dear God, these fucking retards. Give us. That's the problem right there. Yeah, give us the opportunity. Yeah, you don't need to be given it. What have we got here? Say it. Say the line. We invented everything. Yep. There must be a way to blame this on white people. Never forget that white people were forced to... Shabby Shalomenstein. Just for that name, I'm going to throw you a follow. Never forget that white people were forced to lower the IQ standard for mental retardation by 15 points so all black people weren't classified as mentally retarded. However, every time one of you speak or post online, we are reminded of that mental retardation. Change in IQ cutoff. In 1973, the American Association on Mental Retardation revised the IQ cutoff score for a diagnosis of mental retardation from 85, one standard deviation below the mean, to approximately 70, two standard deviations below the mean. The reasoning? This change was implemented partly because racial minority groups were disproportionately represented in the borderline category, as in IQ 67 to 83. There was growing uneasiness about the fairness of IQ tests and the social and educational harm caused by labeling a large number of minority students as intellectually disabled. And yet... Yeah, no, really, you can stop now. Yeah. It should be illegal to be that stupid. Rome 2,000 years ago, Somalia 2025. Yeah. Roman aqueducts 312 BC, African village 2019. Yeah. And why can't they build aqueducts? All the same material was there that the Romans were using. Yeah. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Yep. Let me see. My white privilege is to work hard and pay taxes so I can be insulted by people who don't do either. Yeah. Take that down. That looks like a... we'll show the titties in a minute. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. Since we had Indigenous stuff earlier from Canada, we'll bring that up again. Wow, Indigenous leaders are now claiming they're underfunded, that endless taxpayer handouts are a sacred charter right, and that their demands must come before Canada's national security. Entitlement level maximum. I don't have a problem with them saying they're underfunded. They simply have to prove it. Open the books. Yep. Here we are, back in Ottawa, begging for money so we can live. Get a job. I would welcome them offering to be audited so that we can know for sure if they're underfunded. I mean, that's what a responsible steward would do and what someone actually in need would want. No higher standing than anyone else who migrated here. No. I disagree with that as well. Okay, so this is a woman, I'm going to assume American, though I'm not 100% sure. She's definitely Western liberal. Trying to enter a church, dressed like this, in Italy. A woman tries to enter a church in Italy, dressed completely inappropriately. When she's asked to cover up, she gets angry. Do you think she'd ever try this kind of provocation in a mosque? Of course not. Gotta do one for the gooners every now and again, I guess. That is... Yeah, you are dressed like a fucking whore. You're not dressed. You are dressed like a fucking whore. And you're going into a church. You're disgusting.
Madam, you have to cover up.
Yeah. It's clearly not super warm wherever she is. These people are wearing winter coats, or heavy coats at the very least. Right? So she is intentionally inappropriately dressed. She is provoking this reaction.
Okay. Because it's a church.
Okay, huh?
Guys, cover up or you have to call my
All right.
And she's, yeah. That's gross. Don't get me wrong. I think she's good looking. And in other circumstances, I wouldn't have a problem with her dressed like that. They would be private and behind closed doors, and she wouldn't be dressed like that for long. But that is not fucking appropriate. It's fucking disgusting. It doesn't even matter if it's a mosque or a church. The behavior is a problem. Period. They should have let her in and given her an exorcism. That might be an option. There are dress codes for religious sites around the world, and if you do not follow them to show respect, you should not be allowed in. Oh, sorry, you will not be allowed in. I added the should, sorry. Just a brief, yeah, it's simple enough, right? Desperate for attention? Yeah, isn't that weird? She's desperate for attention and goes dressed like a whore into a church where no one is going to look at her other than to give her negative attention. Why? Why are you negative attention seeking? Probably because your dad didn't pay attention to you unless you misbehaved. How much have I got left here? Okay, Chris Barber's gotten a conditional sentence. This is also from Mario Zelaya. Chris Barber has received an 18-month sentence to be served at home. His crime was mischief. Waisuddin Akbari, 18-month sentence at home. His crime, planted a bomb in every synagogue in Toronto and blow them up to kill as many Jews as possible. Yep, terrorism. Same sentence. Guess which one the government spent millions prosecuting? We can guess, actually. Yeah. Okay, let's see what this one is. Thanks, Mario. Yeah. Jada Franson says, yay. Or, sorry, this is speaking about Kanye being banned from Britain, I think. Kanye says, Jews run the music industry. A music event is cancelled for booking Ye. The UK Board of Jews. We hope that lessons are learned across the industry. Yeah. You can't make that one up. Yeah. You need to stop saying Jews run the world, or we'll make sure that you can no longer say Jews run the world. This powerful group will ruin your life for saying they are a powerful group. Yep. Your white rage is here. I need it to be here. You're going to get banned for saying that. Yeah. If it isn't the Jews running things, why do we get in so much trouble for saying it's Jews running things? Yeah. Every Berg Singlestein, Timowitz. Yep. Okay, how am I doing here? Still got a few. How am I doing on time? I'll try and switch this off. That's Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm going to keep that one in for sure. I think I gave a good enough response to that in his comments, so I'll let that one go. Okay. This one is going to be mildly infuriating. I'm just going to
only wanted to rob you, and my son.
Listen to the audio, and I'll cut it off at the right point, but just listen to the audio.
My son only wanted to rob you, and you crippled him. You are a violent criminal.
I'll play that again.
My son only wanted to rob you, and you crippled him.
A 21-year-old man sustained severe injuries while attempting to rob a woman. His family is now seeking $1.4 million in damages.
You are a violent criminal, and you must pay the price for this.
A robber was seriously injured after...
This could have very easily been in Sic Semper Mentalis, but because of the further... because of the further circumstances.
Trying to mug a woman.
Now, I will say, I don't know what she's got in her bag, but holy shit, that's fucking effective.
What he didn't expect was that the woman was a local MMA coach named Danielle Carter. During the incident, the robber followed Danielle and attempted to steal her bag. Danielle immediately fought back, threw the bag at him, and then punched him in the face.
What's in that bag? Because holy shit.
The robber collapsed unconscious and Danielle left the scene. After a bystander called the police, the robber was taken to the hospital. Police confirmed that the injured suspect was 21-year-old Lucas Miller. Doctors determined that he suffered shattered fractures to his nose and eye socket, and his left eye was severely damaged and had to be removed, resulting in permanent disability. After—
Aw, princess. GETTR, my son only wanted to rob you is all I needed to hear. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Afterward, Lucas's family sued Danielle for excessive self-defense, demanding compensation for medical expenses and $1.4 million in emotional damages. They argued that as a trained fighter, she used excessive force.
This is why we need to completely remove reasonable response, appropriate aggression, any of that. If you are defending yourself from a crime, especially, obviously, like this, there should be no gloves. There should be no requirement to be gentle or inexcessive or only go so far. No, if she had pulled a shotgun out of that bag and blown his head off, that would have been fine. As far as I'm concerned. They need to be afraid to try to attack people. There needs to be a method to make them afraid. Concealed carry is one of the best ones.
Surveillance footage showed Danielle striking Lucas forcefully during the incident. After reviewing the case, the judge and jury unanimously ruled that Danielle acted in self-defense. All charges were dismissed and she was found not guilty. Meanwhile, once Lucas regained consciousness, he would face robbery charges. Do you think this ruling was reasonable?
My son only wanted to rob you, and you crippled him.
Crippled. He's missing an eye through his own actions. Yeah, but I still want to... We need to watch this section again because I want to know what's in that fucking bag, man. Right here.
Threw the bag at him and then punched him in
She didn't throw the bag at him. Assuming this is actually video of what happened.
the face.
Yeah. I suspect it may not be because a lot of it isn't, but yeah. Yeah, geez, it's them again, ain't it? Yeah, it is, Edith. If you are not prepared to use force to defend civilization, then be prepared to accept barbarism. Thomas Sowell. Yep. All he wanted to do was rob you. Mom is the generational problem. Yeah. Think it's a perfect ruling, but Big Mike agrees with the idiot mother who thinks her son should be... Yeah. White folks are what's wrong with America, says Michelle Obama. Well, leave it to a man to come up with a good statement. Yeah, white people are absolutely the problem. This one's going to be a bit hard to listen to, too. From Jason 2 Bartlett, the South African guy who is growing lambs, sheep, in somewhere in the U.S. now, from South Africa. I hope he's doing well. This famous horse trainer in South Africa was beaten inhumanely with a shovel, then tied up with copper wire. For the record, it's T-I-E-D for tied. Strangled with a cable and then executed. This happened on Easter weekend. South African farmers are not being killed in South Africa. They are being slaughtered and tortured in the most horrific ways known to humanity. All inspired by the song Kill the Boer. Yeah. Frank L. Da Silva with the Let's Avoid the Point, only positive institutional violence from America or some other healthy Western nation state will alleviate the anti-white war against South Africans. My apologies, I was wrong. That was absolutely a good answer. It's an anti-white hate crime, says Daughter Aviv. Absolutely right. Valentina Gomez. POTUS and Secretary of War need to end the terrorists that are murdering white South Africans once and for all. You are suggesting genocide. I know, but you are suggesting genocide. Political coup and genocide, actually, ma'am. You would have to remove the black-dominated government and the black majority of the country, which, while not technically a genocide, is essentially a genocide, because you're attempting to wipe out an entire section of a nationality. Booby traps all over my farm. It's kind of difficult with a farm. No stopping them. Come to America. We have our problems, but not like that. It's a different world. Yeah, I'm very glad to know that Jason at least got out. I have friends who are still in South Africa. I really hope they manage to get out or are safe. Praying to St. Michael. Yeah, South Africa. Julius Malema calls for genocide of white citizens. Again. Anti-Semitism is hatred, prejudice, or hostility towards Jews. Some of our biggest financial donors are Jewish and we love them. It's just about the white people. Communist and Bolshevik. Yeah. Okay, this is going to be the last one. And I'm going to save my lols for tomorrow. So I have a few that just made me laugh. This one probably will make me laugh. I generally tend to love Jesse Lee Peterson. So let's see what Jesse Lee Peterson has to say here. Also, I will point out...
I would not say they're influenced by white people. They're
for those of you who think I'm some kind of racist, I will point out I am actually a fan of Jesse Lee Peterson and Thomas Sowell. Those are two very black men. And I have black friends. No, I don't, actually. You think? Actually, I probably do. I know a lot of people online that I've just never seen their faces, so I have no idea if they're black, white, Asian. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see what Jesse has to say to this guy.
I would not say they're influenced by white people. They're influenced by whiteness.
You are awfully pale-skinned to be saying something like that, sir.
What does that mean?
Whiteness is an ideology.
Whiteness is an ideology. Whiteness is a fucking fiction you people came up with to attempt to further guilt the white men. Ain't working anymore. In fact, it's working less and less every day.
A culture, it's a value system. And what we need to do is we need to eliminate that value system.
You want to eliminate whiteness?
Whiteness, not white people, whiteness.
But how do you eliminate whiteness without eliminating white people?
What I want to do is to create an environment that is more collective, that is more value-driven.
Communist.
And I think that flies in absolute oppositeness
Are
with
you
whiteness.
saying that white people are evil?
No.
They're
Not at
not
all.
evil?
Not at all.
But then if they're not evil, why would they treat another human being to a point that a man like you would want to eliminate whiteness?
We are all fallen people.
We're all equal, except white people who are worse. Yeah. You are a disappointment to your mother. And probably your father, too. White Dragon, this anti-white does not say yet clearly that he wants to white erase white people, but there are plenty of anti-whites who say this and plenty of anti-whites who gang rape, torture, stab, beat, and shoot us. If you do not want it to become even worse, you better use this method, the no white guilt. Yeah, go check out at no white guilt NWG. 6 important concepts of Go Free. The Go Free method, yeah. Oh, that's in German, I think. Anti-whites come in all different stripes. Yeah. Before and after anti-whiteism, I tend to put an E between the T and the I, but that's me. White people, we've got to help non-whites. Join us, nowhiteguilt.org. At 8% of the world population in 2021, Western kind is undergoing rapid white erasure. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think this is mostly just translation. Does look like German. I think it's Deutsch. Yeah. Americans are growing tired of our ancestors being compared to the migrants of today. Settling in an undeveloped land, settling in unoccupied land, for most part, and building a civilization is not comparable to moving to a post-industrial nation and signing up for welfare. True. Not that long ago, the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture made this chart. Okay, let me open that in a new tab because I'll never read it in this one. Aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture in the United States. Yeah, I'm good with that. Thanks. Okay. God damn, I love being white. Thank white people for the list is damn near endless. We make the world a shitty place to live. Gotta help the minorities. We are the minority. Nope. I will never understand why you would boost for the losers. Especially when their leader was a meth addict. Yeah. Minorities owe reparations to white families for destroying the cities whites built. Yep. Yeah. Okay, that's going to be the end of that. Oh, wait, I do have one more thing before I end the entirety of the show, because I do like to end with something a little lighter. So, here we go. And, yeah, I did not too bad. Minute 40, or an hour and 40. From, well, my telegram, forwarded from Surf Dad. That's it. That's it, just a guy being nice.